Good morning to all of you. Myself Priyanka, Senior Assistant Professor BBDU Lucknow. Today we will discuss about GLP guidelines. So let us start our topic. So firstly we will see about definition of GLP. As you all know, GLP is good laboratory practices. So, the GLP is basically a quality system that is concerned with the organizational process and conditions under which non clinical health and environmental safety studies are planned, performed, monitored, then recorded, then archived, and finally reported. So, in GLP, safety studies are basically planned, performed, then monitored, recorded, archived, and reported. GLP is basically managerial controls for research laboratories and organizations which ensures the uniformity, consistency, reliability, reproducibility, quality, and integrity of products in development through non clinical safety tests. So, now let us see what is the need of creating GLP. Why FDA has created good laboratory practices. So, in 1970s, FDA became aware of the poor laboratory practices and then FDA decided to do investigation on toxicology labs. During investigation on toxicology labs, FDA discovered a lot of fraudulent data have been submitted by the toxicology labs. And in this, industrial biotest labs was the most notable case, where thousands of safety tests for chemical manufacturers were falsely claimed to have been performed. During FDA's visit to IBT, during FDA's visit to IBT, abundant and shocking evidence of scientific misconduct was found. In the room where toxicological studies were being performed, a malfunction in an automatic watering system sprayed a continuous mist onto caged animals, submerged the floor under 4 inches of water, and drowned animals in their cages. Technicians accessed the room wearing rubber boots and also wore masks to protect them from the smell of decomposing animals. Many study animals in IBT died of exposure and decomposed rapidly, preventing examination and dead individually caged animals on studies were routinely replaced with group housed animals from a room across the hall, and the replacements were not documented. So, this is the case of industrial biotest labs where thousands of safety tests for chemical manufacturers were falsely claimed to have been performed because the animals used for test are basically not alive, and they replaced the dead animal with live animal, and the replacements were not documented. Now, another research facility where numerous instances of alleged scientific misconduct were exposed was GD Serle and Company. Serle produced several major pharmaceutical and food products including flagyl, aldactone and aspartame. So what happened in Serle? A researcher not affiliated with Serle submitted an article to the Journal of the National Cancer Institute which showed flagyl caused cancer in animal during study in laboratory. So this is the case of G.D. Serle and company. So let us see what is the FDA's investigation findings and why FDA has created GLP. So firstly is poorly trained study directors and study personnel, that the study directors are not trained properly and the study personnel are also not trained properly. Second one is poorly designed protocols. So the protocols used for study are not properly designed. That's why they affect the test and result. Next is protocols used are not followed strictly. Procedures specified are not conducted as they are specified. Next is raw data badly collected and not correctly identified without traceability, and raw data is not verified or approved by the responsible persons. Next is lack of standardized procedures. And finally, poor animal husbandry, as you can see in case of IBT. The case of IBT we have discussed in our previous slide. So this is the findings of FDA during investigation, that study directors are not properly trained, protocols are not designed properly, and the protocols that are designed are not followed, and also the raw data are not verified by the responsible person. There is no any standardized procedure for testing, and the animals are not kept according to standard conditions. So what is the aim of GLP? Why FDA has done creation of GLP? What is the aim? So the aim is to make the incidence of false negatives more obvious, to make the incidence of false positives more obvious. So, or you can say to find out what is the false negative or to find out the cases of false positive. So, what is false negative? False negative is the results that demonstrate non-toxicity of a toxic, that the substance is toxic, and the study falsely claims that the substance is non-toxic. And what is false positive? False positive is the results that demonstrate toxicity of a non-toxic substance. Means that a substance is non-toxic, but the study falsely claims that the substance is a toxic. So it is false positive. The next aim of GLP is to promote mutual recognition of study data across international frontiers, and it also promotes quality and validity of test data. So the GLP basically recognize the study data across international frontiers. Now let us see the history of GLP. So, GLP was first introduced in New Zealand and Denmark in 1972 after the case of IBT, Industrial Biotest Labs. FDA's proposed regulations on GLP in 1976 with establishments of the final rule in June 1979. The Environmental Protection Agency issued its own draft in 1979 and 1980 and publishing the final rules in two separate parts, 40 CFR 160 and 40 CFR 792. In 1979 and 1980, an international group of experts developed the OECD Principles of Good Laboratory Practices, which were adopted by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development Council in 1981 and amended in 1997. So this is the history of GLP, that FDA's proposed regulations in 1976 and final rule in 1979. The EPA issued its own draft in 1979 and 1980 and the final rules in two parts, that is 40 CFR 160 and 40 CFR 792, and OECD also develop principles of good laboratory practices, which were adopted in 1981 and amended in 1997. So what are the objectives of GLP? So these are some objectives of GLP, that GLP promotes the health and environmental safety of chemicals. It ensures the generation of high quality and reliable test data. It defines the responsibilities of test facility management, study director, study personnel, and quality assurance personnel. It defines minimum standards concerning the suitability of facilities and equipment to perform studies. It also establishes the need for standard operating procedures, documentation of raw data, study reports, and the archiving of records. So, what is the objective of GLP? To promote health and environmental safety, to ensure high generation of high quality data, to define responsibility of test facility management, study director, study personnel, and quality assurance personnel, to define minimum standard concerning the suitability of facilities and equipment, and to establish the need for standard operating procedures and documentation. Now, let us see GLP requirements during drug development stages. You can see here that there are 4 stages. So, what happens in stage 1? In the first stage, the discovery of potential new drug products is neither covered by a regulatory standard nor are studies demonstrating proof of concept. This area may well require some international standards or guidance documents in the future. What happened in stage 2? The position of GLP studies within the drug development process is specific to the second stage. The studies are termed non-clinical, and the primary purpose is safety testing. Toxicology and safety pharmacology studies with a potential extension to pharmacokinetics and bioavailabilities are those studies where the compliance with GLP is required. Now, come to stage 3. This is the third stage. This is the third stage. Here, GCP is the basis for quality standards, ethical conduct, and regulatory compliance. GCP must be instituted in all clinical trials from phase 1 to phase 2, phase 3. Now come to stage 4. The fourth stage is post approval. Here the drug is available on the market. However, even after marketing, the use of drug is monitored through pharmacovigilance procedures. Any subsequent clinical trials must also comply with GCP. So you can see from this table that in stage 1, GLP is not required, and in stage 2, stage 3 and stage 4, GLP is required. Now, what is the phases of clinical research? The phases of clinical research are the stages in which scientists conduct experiments to obtain sufficient evidence for a process considered effective as medical treatment. Now, what happened in phase 1? In phase 1, now let us first see about preclinical phase. In preclinical phase, no human subjects are involved, and testing of drug is done in non-human subjects to gather efficacy, toxicity and pharmacokinetic information. Now come to phase 1. What happens in phase 1? Dose ranging is done on healthy volunteers, and generally 20 to 100 normal healthy volunteers are taken. Now come to phase 2. In phase 2, testing of drug on participants take place to assess efficacy, side effects, therapeutic dose. Generally 100 to 300 participants are taken. Now come to phase 3. In phase 3, 300 to 3000 people with a specific disease are taken. Phase 4 is post-marketing surveillance, in which the drug is released in market, and the effects and side effects of drug are recorded and studied. Now, GLP guidelines help to easily find out the following. Firstly, who has done a study? Mean the person responsible for the study. And next, how the experiment was carried out. Basically, the procedure for the experiment. Now, whether there has been any problem, and if so, how it has been addressed and solved wherever applicable. If there is any problem, so it is also documented, and how it was addressed, it is also documented. So with the help of GLP guidelines, it is easy to find out that the person responsible for the study, how the experiment was carried out, and which procedures have been used, whether if there is any problem, how it has been addressed and solved. Now let us see some important definition and terms about GLP. Now, firstly, we will see some terms concerning the organization. So, first is test facility. What is a test facility? The test facility is the person's premises and operational units that are necessary for conducting the non-clinical health and environmental safety study. Now, what is a sponsor? A sponsor is an entity which supports and or submits a non-clinical health and environmental safety study. Next is study director. Who is the study director? Study director is the individual. Study director is the individual responsible for the overall conduct of the non-clinical health and environmental safety study. Now, who is principal investigator? Principal investigator means an individual who, for a multi-site study, acts on behalf of the study director and has defined responsibility for delegated phases of the study. Now, what is test site? Test site means the location at which phases of a study is conducted. What is test site? What is standard operating procedures? Standard operating procedures means documented procedure which describe how to perform tests or activities normally not specified in detail in study plans or test guidelines. And what is master schedule? Master schedule means a compilation of information to assist in the assessment of workload and for the tracking of studies at a test facility. So these are some terms concerning the organization. Firstly is test facility, means persons premises that are necessary for conducting the non-clinical health and environmental safety study. Now, next is study director, is the individual that is responsible for overall conduct of the study. Next is principal investigator. Principal investigator which acts on behalf of the study director and has defined responsibility for delegated phases of study. And what is test site? Test site is the location at which phases of a study is conducted. And next we see about standard operating procedures, and standard operating procedures are documented procedures which describe how to perform tests or activity, and these are normally not specified in detail in study plans or test guidelines. And finally we see about master schedule. Master schedule means compilation of information to assist the assessment of workload and for tracking of studies at test facility. Now let us see important definition and terms concerning the non-clinical health and environmental safety. So firstly is a short-term study. A short-term study is a study, as the name suggests, of short duration with widely used routine techniques. Next is the study plan. A study plan is a document which defines the objectives and experimental design for the conduct of the study. Next is test system. Test system is any biological, chemical or physical system or a combination that is used in a study. And finally, what is raw data? Raw data is all original test facility records and documentation or verified copies which are the result of the original observation and activities in a study. Raw data may include photographs, computer readable media, recorded data from automated instruments, or any other data storage medium that has been recognized as capable of providing secure storage of information for a time period. And what is experimental starting date? Experimental starting date means the date on which the first study specific data are collected. Now next is experiment completion date, means the last date on which data are collected from the study. So these are some terms concerning the non-clinical health and environmental safety. Firstly, we see about the short-term study, and short-term study is a study of short duration. Next, we see about study plan. What is a study plan? Study plan is a document which defines the objectives and experimental design for the conduct of the study. Next is test system, that is any biological or chemical or physical system used in a study. And finally, we see about raw data, in which all original test facility records and documentation are there. So now let us see 5 basic points of GLP. First is resources, and resources include personal facilities and equipment. Next is characterization, and characterization in characterization there is test article and test system. In order to perform a study correctly, it is very essential to know as much as possible about the materials used during the study. So that's why we are considering test article and test system in characterization. Next is rules. Rules include protocols and written procedure. The main steps of research studies are prescribed in the study plan or protocol. Being able to repeat study and to obtain similar results, we require details of routine procedures. So there is need of study plans, procedures and protocols. Next is the result. Result includes raw data, final reports and archives, and finally is quality assurance. Quality assurance is a team of persons, often called the quality assurance unit, charged with assuring management that GLP compliance has been attained within the laboratory. So, firstly, we will see about resources. So, the resources is divided into first management, second personal, third facilities that include buildings and equipment. So what is management? Overall responsibility of management is of GLP implementation and to promote good science and good organization. What is good science? Good science is careful definition of experimental design and study parameters and science based on known scientific principles. And what is good organization? Good organization means proper planning of studies and allocation of resources, provision of adequate facilities, infrastructure, and qualified staff. Now come to personal. Organizational structure shown in standard documents like organizational chart, reporting relationship. Organizational structure must be clearly shown in some standard document like organizational chart, reporting relationships, etc. And there must be curriculum vitae for all personnel, and these curriculum vitae must maintain up to date and exist in required language. And in a CV, it is usual to include name and age of the person, education, professional experience, any publication, membership of association, languages spoken. Now there is training records. So training records must be there for all personnel involved in test, for all personnel involved in manufacturing, test, etc. Now fourth one is job description. There must be job description for every personnel of laboratory, and their buildings must be physically separated and separated by organization, and equipment must be suitable and properly calibrated. What is the need of calibrating instrument? So that it can give accurate result. Suitability means to perform a study properly, adequate equipment must be available, and the all equipment should be suitable for its intended use. The equipment that is suitable for a given study depends on the type of the study and the study objectives. Suitability can be assessed by consideration of the performance of the equipment. For example, there is no need to have a balance capable of weighing to decimals of a milligram to obtain the weekly weight of a rat. So, this is the example to assess suitability of any instrument. However, suppose a balance with this precision may be required in analytical laboratory. So we do not need a balance weighing to decimals for weighing rat, but this precision balance may require in analytical laboratory. So the equipment that we used must be suitable for what we are using that instrument. Now, next is characterization. Characterization is accumulating knowledge about materials used in the experiment. It principally concerns with the test item, that is often a chemical compound, and the test system, that is often a live animal. The test item might be an active ingredient for a medicine, a pesticide, a food additive, a vaccine, a chemical compound used industrially. The test item is most frequently characterized by its analytical profile. Example: chemical identity, impurity, solubility, stability, etc. The test system could be an animal, a plant, an isolated organ, etc. Now, third one is the rules. Rules include the protocol or study plan. The protocol or study plan describes general policies, decisions, and principles. It defines the experimental design for particular studies. It instructs staff about how to carry out routine operations. So, the protocol or study plan describes how the study is designed and how it is to be conducted, including the expected time frame of the study. Now, next is the standard operating procedure. The standard operating procedure provide detailed instructions about how to actually perform each technical procedure and how to ensure sound organization of the study, its environment and data. The standard operating procedure is written detailed instruction, cover all laboratory activities and provides in-depth instructions. Next is results. Results include raw data and data collection. All data generated during the conduct of a study should be identified and recorded directly, promptly, accurately, legibly, and indelibly by the person entering the data and be signed or initialed and dated. The raw data should include what has done, how it was done, when the work was performed, and who performed the work. Next is archiving. Archiving is safe depository of invaluable information. Next is indexing. Indexing is computerized and allows complete and rapid retrieval. All studies or lots of specific materials are given unique holding numbers that are cross-referenced to their location in the archives. And the last is quality assurance. The quality assurance unit is, as we discussed earlier, is the group of persons with a set of defined duties which ensures that all the quality processes are implemented and are functioning correctly. It includes the functions of quality assurance include protocol or study plan review. Next is SOP review. Third one is planning. Fourth is audits and inspections. Fifth is quality assurance statement. Sixth is QA inspections of suppliers and contractors. And finally, issuing and archiving of QA files and reports. So, what is the function of a quality assurance unit? Quality assurance unit basically plan inspections and audit, and also it is responsible for SOP review, protocol or study plan review, and it is also responsible for issuing and archiving of QA files and reports. Thank you all for your attention. In next part, we will discuss about principles or basic elements of GLP.